Hey everybody, Victor here. Let's go ahead and get started with our nation guide for Mali. As said in the last video, I made a Discord for the community. If you want to join it, feel free to go into the description. You'll find it there. Hopefully I'll see you guys there. Now, Mali. Mali historically was the homeland of the richest man ever to walk the earth. Man whose title was Mansa Musa. If you don't know who he is, by all means look him up. He was so wealthy that he made Jeff Bezos look as if he worked for Jeff Bezos. Kind of wealthy. So yeah, there's a reason for that, and it's shown in game. It is shown in game because you start with 2 actually developed gold mines. And you have another one right next door that you can dev up as well, meaning you make a lot of early money. I mean a substantial amount of money in gold. This is going to drive your inflation through the roof. So if you're playing Mali and you don't want inflation, I'm sorry, but that really doesn't work here. So you're just going to have to deal with it. The good news is inflation is caused not by having gold income, but is the ratio of gold to everything else. So once you are done conquering West Africa and having decent trade income, your inflation will drop like a rock. So it's a bad thing early. It'll become a less of a thing later on. What does this mean? Mali is the strongest tag in all of West Africa. In fact, it's probably the strongest tag in sub-Saharan Africa, except for potentially Batua, once they have the gold mines there, and Kilwa, and potentially Congo. So realistically, you have a very wide expansion path that you can go just in Africa, and then you also have the potential of going New World as well, given your location. What does this mean? This means that you are going to probably be going over force limit and winning wars that you don't think you could normally win. And I'll show you basically what you're going to be doing. Day 1, go ahead. You are making almost 9 ducats a month. Hire whatever level 1 advisors you can. Stability cost modifier is good here, because the thing is, your stability cost is really high. And it's going to be high. The reason why is your religious unity is garbage. It is hot garbage. You are entirely a fetishist country except for your capital, which is Sunni. This means that you need to start converting everything. Which kind of leads me into what I chose for my estate privileges. Now, I obviously have all of the monarch generation. You're gonna want these. I understand a lot of people don't like having the low crown land. You're still gonna want these going. Monarch generation is going to be the most important thing for you for a very long time. Second, obviously I have the loyalty and the prestige because that's something you need. Now I wanted to show you this. You can choose to either go the right of counsel or one of the monopolies for some loyalty. I would honestly recommend the monopoly on mining and smelting. You're not really going to lose much income. You're going to lose a quarter of this over 10 years. It's not worth freaking out about. But you get a mercantilism, which will help you keep more income in the future. More importantly, the other one is livestock, and if you look at the trade good map of West Africa, you only have 3 iron provinces, no bronze, whereas livestock is a lot of different places. As such, even though livestock is not worth as much as iron, you are simply going to be making more money out of livestock at the end of it. So just give up the iron, you'll make money later. Next, this is not expansionist zealotry. This is the enforced unity of faith. The reason you do not go expansionist zealotry is because you require to have to go after a country with a different religion. And if you look around you, everyone that you want to attack early, which is Jolof, Makina, Songhai, Zhen, all of these guys are all Sunni tags. The only one that you border that is not Sunni, in fact, is Masi. So to take that now means you are committing the very first war, no matter who their allies are, is going to be Masi. And generally speaking, while you might want to take them out early, they're not your primary target. The reason why is your rivals are always going to be Jolof, Zhen, and Songhai. So these are the guys you're going after first, and there's no reason to harm your morale early. You can take out Masi later and then put it on them. The reason behind unity of faith, the enforced unity of faith, is because I see a lot of people give this guaranteed gimme autonomy. I mean a lot of people. In multiplayer games and otherwise, I see this happen all the time. Because I don't think they quite understand what this means. The local religious unity contribution. All this means is that it's going to go in here and set this to be 100% if it's all heretic faith. Or sorry, heathen faith. If it's heretics, it won't apply. All this means is you get a reduction in your national unrest from game start of 0.62. And your stability cost will go down by 20%, and you'll lose the yearly corruption. This is not a massive deal. This is not going to save you. What matters more is up here, the tolerance. Now, without the enforced unity of faith, your tolerance for heathens would be 1.5, meaning that your unrest is reduced in heathen provinces by 1.5. Obviously, that's not as good as having it go down over here by 3. So you would get more of an unrest reduction if you simply convert your provinces. This is why if you are in a place like Africa, where there's not a whole lot of development, conversion can go fairly quickly, it's not that expensive, it is worthwhile to use enforced unity of faith and simply convert people. If you are in India, however, or in Europe, where there's a lot of development, it's really expensive, and it takes forever to convert people, then it's a good idea to use the dhimmi autonomy, especially because then it comes with a couple of other privileges to give you more manpower or more tax. The tax, not as exactly a big deal anymore, but manpower definitely is. Unfortunately, that is a long game play, and you are not in the right continent for that. So just convert them. Next, let's talk about your ruler. The stats here, they are completely static. You will always have a garbage ruler to start with. These traits are completely random. Hopefully you'll get good ones, like monthly war exhaustion reduction. That's a pretty good one. This one really doesn't matter. But hopefully you don't have corruption and a craven ruler that'll ruin your morale of armies. Your heir here, however, is also hot garbage. You don't want him ruling at all, ever. So immediately defenestrate him out the window. Throw him as far as you possibly can, preferably into the ocean where he drowns. You do not want him anywhere near your country. Don't take the risk of him ruling. Your navy, combine it, delete it. I know there's going to be somebody that wants to keep it, but you are sacrificing about a quarter to half a ducat to maintain them. And I know that doesn't sound like a lot, but you're really not going to be using them, and they're not going to do anything for you for probably 40 to 50 years. That means you're giving up quite a substantial amount of money for a navy that's not going to help you do anything. Just delete it for now. You can build it later for whenever you actually need a navy. Now, as I said before, these are your rivals, which means you need to find some allies. Just specifically, because while Zholof and Zhen are not exactly giant threats to you, Songhai can be annoying. The allies you typically will find, you have Timbuktu, which is almost always going to be your ally, Air, which will almost always be your ally, Nup, Kong, and Makina. Masi can also be your ally, however, in this case, they're not. They're hostile, because they want my land. If they're willing to be your ally, it's your choice if you ally them. That is one of your expansion paths in the future, but it's not your first priority. Makina up here is an expansion path early, so don't ally them unless you choose not to go after them, but are instead going after Masi. Kong typically allies Zholof, Zhen, or Makina. As such, allying them is a waste of space. So ally Timbuktu, because they will usually come in on Makina or Songhai. Come in with ally with Air, because they will usually come in on Songhai, because they want their land. And then I personally ally Nup. Are they a great ally? Nope. No, they are not. But they are better than nothing, and you can always ask them for some manpower, which, again, not much, but 600 manpower from somebody that really serves no other purpose is better than 0. Because these guys, you're actually going to want to be able to fight, and they're all the same. So you'd rather use these guys as favors to call them into wars, and this one just for a money or manpower bank that you can withdraw from. Lastly, you have a couple of ducats left. Go ahead and finish building your cavalry if you can. If you can't, just build some infantry. You're going to end up having more than your force limit anyway. Lastly, before I unpause, yes, I am at almost 5%. I do not have the monarch points to dev anything out, but I want to dev my gold mines. And specifically, I want to dev production dev. This will give me another half a ducat of income a month. Unfortunately, that means I need to wait a couple of months to get to that point so I can actually do it. Lastly, before I unpause, you are kind of in a monarch point deficit. Just to start, you are one tech behind, you are an institution behind, and in 6 years, you're going to be another institution behind. In other words, you need monarch points, a lot of them. But I do have some good news. First, you're having some natural spread. You are getting some natural spread of feudalism, it won't be for Renaissance, but for feudalism, in your capital. The reason why is you get it naturally by being in the old world and being non-tribal. As such, you get a little bit in your capital. It really is not much. It really is not much. As such, you can choose to add in the advancement effort in your capital. This really doesn't increase the governing cost that much. It really doesn't. So you're able to speed up that natural spread. Now, is this going to save you from having to dev push at all? No. But it will hopefully save you some clicks. And again, money is not your problem early. It is monarch generation. Especially since your starting monarch is hot garbage. And by the way, go ahead, make him a general. You want him to leave as quickly as possible. The other thing to point out is you might not need to dev push feudalism. I will explain why in a bit, because I want to see if it actually happens in this game. It is about 10% chance. However, at this point, I missed it because I wasn't paying attention. Start building a spy network on the 3 people you're probably going to expand in first, which is Jolof, Jen, and Makina. And then simply wait. You're waiting for those claims. So I'm going to go ahead and pause the recording here because I need to wait for these claims to be there, and then I will explain further what you need to do in the guide. See you guys then. And welcome back. So, I have the claims. You really don't need beyond 1. If you want to have more than 1 on, say, Jolof, so you're not paying the you don't have a claim on this Diplo point tax, you can absolutely do that. It's simply going to take longer, and this is a guide, and I'm not going to play it for that long. As such, I'm going to go ahead and just get my army ready. Now, here's the thing. Jen here is allied to more people than just Jolof. They're allied, of course, to Messina. Now, I don't want to co-belligerate Messina, though, and I can't take enough out of them, or they can't full annex them in simply 1 war. As a result, I'm not going to co-belligerate Jen. I will take out Jen in 2 wars. The reason I'm saying 2 wars is because they're over 50% as well. The reason why is their capital here is 17 development, and yeah, it has a center of trade. This is a very valuable province that you want to get in that war no matter what, and get it early. Though I will tell you, this monument, it downgrades. Every monument downgrades when you conquer a province or annex a province that works the same as a center of trade. As a result, don't expect this to both be here. However, you can, because it's 17 development, immediately upgrade it back. So, now that I have dev my gold mine, giving me a little bit more income, this is when you take the indebted to the burghers, or the merchant guilds, because this will give you a ton of money. And this is so you can hire the free company. Yeah, you're going over force limit, you'll be fine, you'll probably lose 2 ducats a month, you have tons of time to win this war. So much so that, yeah, split your army up and start marching them. The reason you have 12,000 here is just because this is a level 3 fort, so you're going to have to siege it down with at least 9,000 men. The other person, or the other people with forts like that, just to be aware of them, Songhai, Timbuktu, Air, and then over here in Kanem-Bornu. Oh, and Benin. These are the ones you actually have to have a large enough army to siege them down, so make sure you actually pay attention to that. These are why these are great allies to have, simply because people like Songhai will have to take their entire army and park them on that fort just to siege them out and knock your ally out of the war. Last bit of thing to say, just in case it happens, I'm not sure if it will, if your army gets broken during a war, you'll notice that there are provinces out here that they can choose to run to, including Kumasi. Your army and their armies are very, very, very likely to end up running there. If it happens to you and you run to Kumasi, don't walk back. What you do is instead, give me 1 second here, go to these guys and ask them for military access, and then ask Kong for military access. Don't walk back through the uncolonized territory. You're very likely to trigger a very large army that's very aggressive, so 10% chance every single province, that does bonus damage. It's not worth fighting these guys. It's really annoying fighting these guys. Don't fight them. It's really just not worth it. And now I run up. I try to knock out Jolof's army before they can even really respond. And now that Jolof is pretty much knocked out, this should stack wipe them. I carpet siege them, and I keep Zhen pinned, and the war's over. This war, not difficult for kind of a good reason. The next war is going to be a bit more difficult. I'm going to go ahead and pause the recording because this is going to take a while because, yeah, this siege in particular was really bad. It takes a while, which is one of the reasons why I'm just going for the war now. And this is also why you delete your navy. If somebody sieges down Gabu because you're not paying attention, your navy is suddenly out here, and if you mothball it, it's sunk, and it's not worth maintaining it. So I'm going to go ahead and pause the recording. I'll see you guys when I'm done with this war. And welcome back. As you can see, war is over. I don't need to take out Jene entirely because, well, or Zhen, simply because they will now give me the land. In fact, give me 1 second. Sorry about that. I've heard that that song in particular, for some reason, gets really, really loud and makes it hard to hear me. So, had to fix that. As you can see, they're willing to give me the land. Now, I don't want to take money out of them. The reason why is while I could possibly get the money out of them, 50 ducats, not really necessarily worth it. But on top of that, even if it necessarily was worth it, I want them to be willing to come into the next war. By taking money, I am putting them into debt, which means they won't honor the next call to arms. By leaving them relatively solvent when it comes to money, they will honor the call, meaning I can just jump in, knock them out, take them out, and win. So, don't take the money. It makes your life a little bit easier. As far as Jolof is concerned, you are going to full annex. Because realistically, why wouldn't you? Now again, as I said, you can go ahead and take the claims to make sure you have less diplo cost here. That's fine. Because again, every monarch point matters. Here's the thing, as far as the coring cost, it does not matter because you're immediately going to turn around and release Jolof. As I said, every monarch point matters. The thing is that it costs, just on a base level, 10 admin points to core anything, and it costs 8 diplo points to diplo annex something. So, generally speaking, it's cheaper for you to diplo annex it. So it's simply on monarch point cost. Second, you're already going to have some rebel problems. Having more rebel problems because you took out Jolof is not really what you're looking for. The one downside to doing this is that now Jolof is a fetishist nation, so they're not going to convert this stuff. They're even going to try and convert this back to fetishist. However, if you want, you can force the religion if you want, though I don't recommend it, but you can just convert this later once you integrate them. That is coming in quite a while, though. As far as Zhen is concerned, you can go ahead and start coring it now. However, I do recommend a couple of things. One, before you do anything, get this. You need to make a decision on whether or not you want to dev it back to 15 or not, because if you have Leviathan, you can click this button. I know a lot of people don't like this, because you're losing development in the process, but there is some good about it. First, it moves it from a culture that is not yours, so you're taking lower money out of it and lower manpower out of it, and you're putting it in your capital, which is your right culture and has no autonomy, so you'll get a lot more out of it. In addition, you could be dumping development into your capital state. And when it comes to Mali, there is a very good reason why that's great. You have 2 gold mines in your capital state. If you drop any kind of development there, it is a good thing. Simply because you'll be able to drop more development in there for Diplo without having to use your own points to get admin or military up just to dev the Diplo. Of course, you would like to not have it be admin, but can't have everything. So it is up to you if you choose to do this. I'm going to personally wait and see if I can get the rest of Gen in there so I can get all of the state consolidated like that. Save me more monarch points that way. Up to you what you choose to do, because while it is sitting there, it is causing me to gain some corruption, and it's causing some unrest because of overextension. So it is a personal choice. The next target is going to be Makina. As you can see, they're allied to Gen, and they're allied to Kong. And Gen will come into this war. They may not if the next monthly tick happens. So, obviously, I want to declare this war and get this going as quickly as possible. Now, they outnumber me. They outnumber me by quite a bit. If this is a war that goes on for too long, I'm going to have significant problems. It's going to be very difficult for me. The nice thing is that their army is nothing compared to my 16,000. And Songhai, their other big ally, is nothing compared to my 16,000 army. In such, I'm going to try and defeat them in detail. Kong, not really a threat, especially since my free company can take them out independently. However, obviously my army is not in position, so I'm going to instead wait to get in position and potentially let them finish this Mossi war. Though, given the fact that they're actually able to fight back, probably just going to go. If for no other reason, then this is a war I can jump on top of and potentially win quickly. So I'm going to go ahead and declare the war. And I'm going to, again, sorry, because I know that some of you might want to watch this, but I know it's generally not something people want to see, you winning a war that there really isn't a problem winning the war. So I'm going to go ahead and pause it, and I'll see you guys when I'm done with the war. And welcome back. So, as you can see, war's over. Once the war started, I went in to attack, and then I found out, very painfully, that Songhai had a 6-shock general. As such, even though I outnumbered him, he ended up really beating me. So I used Mali's superpower. And in case you guys don't know what this is, Mali is, well, in terms of superheroes, they are Batman. You have the superpower of money. In other words, I hired a couple of mercenary companies, none of which had great generals, but simply overwhelmed him in terms of numbers. If this happens to you, use the power of money, embrace that fact about yourself, because that is what you are. Now, Gen, go ahead and full annex them. If you can't get Gen into this war, it's fine. You'll end up getting them anyway. Realistically, they don't even really have a strong capital to defend from anymore, and you'll eventually get them. When it comes to Messina here, as you can see, Mossi did take some penalty for them attacking them, so I'm going to go ahead and full annex them. Yes, they are still running around. I want them to be running around. The reason I want them to be running around is because I'm going to do the exact same thing I did with Jolof and immediately release them as a vassal. This means they are going to, since Messina has no other cores around here, walk into Mossi's territory and start stomping around until Mossi has to waste its time and manpower taking them out. Songhai is already in a war with them, but this will even it out and weaken both of them, which is good news for me. And now I have free land, so I can now make Mossi a rival, and then go in on Mossi, who is still slightly below 100%. As you can see, this is the basic expansion. You get a vassal, you keep pushing, get a vassal, you keep pushing. You might take Mossi yourself, it is up to you. Now, This is something I didn't cover earlier. You're keeping this open so you can get strong duchies once you have 2 vassals, because, yeah, this is very, very strong. Because if you look, they drop down to loyal. If you get another larger vassal, they're not going to be loyal. As I said before, I personally prefer doing this, because it will probably drop something on a gold mine. It is a risk, but, yep, didn't happen. As far as Kong down here, you really have to just core this. It's already part of a state, so it's going to be expensive, but realistically, it is a gold mine anyway. You want to have this in a state, and by having it already in a state, you're already dropping down its autonomy, which is a good thing to have. Does this overly matter? No, not really, but it's usually helpful. Now, a couple of things to note about this guide. As I said before, there is a way to not have to develop feudalism. It's only been 4 years, it's already pushed itself up 15%, which is a few dev clicks. Even at the end of it, that's about 3, which can get very expensive. So that saves you alone about 300 monarch power. However, there might be a way in your game where you don't have to worry about it. The good news is you can store up to 1500 just at this point. That will go higher the longer you wait, because Renaissance will increase it too. It hasn't spawned yet, but once it does, this will go up, making it so you can hold more monarch power as well. I've been able to push it before I embraced any technology for a while. And just to say it, if say Songhai or Makina or anybody gets Tech 3 or Tech 4 military tech before you, that's okay. Again, you have the power of money. Embrace the power of money. It really does work. When it comes to your actual army, just to point this out, because at this point, I have men that are not being used, but I am, again, over force limit. Go ahead and consolidate them down. It's better to have them below the force limit and saving you a little bit of money at this point, helping your manpower recover a little bit, than trying to fill them back up. Because the moment your ruler passes and you go into negative stability, you're going to start getting the Peasants' War disaster. You can boost up your stability now, but if you look at it, it's pretty expensive. Sometimes it's just better to wait. So, how do you not have to develop feudalism at all? If you scroll out, you will notice something. You will notice something that, realistically, I think a lot of you probably see it, but you don't probably make the connection. It is, Tafel is getting it by nature. They're just getting it. It's spreading into them because everybody around them has feudalism. Tafel has a habit of being released by Castile, or Morocco getting beaten up so bad that they end up rebelling against Morocco after they get punched in the face by Castile, to the point where they are now free. Meaning you can no CB Tafel, vassalize them, and then after 10 years integrate them. One of the reasons you are releasing vassals now is because in order to embrace it, this is based off of the total amount of development you have based on local autonomy. So if you have 10 development but there's 90 autonomy there, only 1 development will count in here. Meaning that the lower amount of dev you have in total, the better. And it doesn't count subjects. As such, once you get rid of Tafel and you embrace them, since you have a total, right now, of about 84, to get 10%, you'd need 8 development that has feudalism. Here's 10. If Tafel becomes free, you are now able to embrace feudalism by simply integrating 1 vassal. And if you want to go to war now, once Tunis is not willing to come in, you can go to war against Morocco directly to try and vassalize Tafel. Because they are, in total, less than 100 war score. You should be able to steal them. They will be very, 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 very mad at you. But it is an option. So, hopefully that will end up saving you thousands of monarch power, making it very easy for you to catch up in tech. Because then, you're not having to dev push, and you can drop it all into your tech, only having to deal with Renaissance. The next institution that a lot of you are going to try and get, since you can't really get Renaissance other than dev pushing it, or simply having it spread to a nearby province, which will take a while even up here, you have Colonialism. I wanted to talk about colonialism briefly because I did test this out. They have changed how colonialism is spawned. It used to be, and I know this is how it works, I know somebody's going to argue with me that it didn't, but it does. It used to work where if you had the exploration idea group, the first idea of it, which is Quest for the New World, right here, and saw a province in the New World, you didn't have to explore it yourself, you just had to see it. And I know this works because I've both bought maps as Austria, not having a colony there. I've bought maps as China, not having a colony there. And I've also had a bug where Batua, I saw the New World, all of which spawned colonialism just because I had this idea. Did not own a colony there at all. As Batua, I didn't not even see the ocean, I merely saw the Caribbean. It just spread to me for some reason. By doing this, it was allowing you to spawn colonialism, saving you from having to dev yet another institution. This no longer works. Now, if you look at this, it will tell you what has changed. It is under the province owner, one of the following must be true. You must own a province yourself in the New World. You must do it. Or, you must have a subject country own a province there that is a colony, crown colony, private enterprise, or self-governing colony. This means that if you see the New World, and you know CB the New World, tribe, whatever it happens to be, the Aztecs, you vassalize them, that isn't not enough. They are not a colony. They are a simple vassal. You then have to integrate them after that, which then makes them into a normal province, or if you have 5 or more, into a colony, which is spawned out of those provinces you just integrated. Or the other option that you can do to get this to spawn, and this is, I'm assuming that you're going to be behind because you're playing catch up with tech and institutions and everything else. Or for me to get it to spawn, I had to get the idea, get Colonial Ventures, get a colonist, which gives me the option to have a colonial range advisor, which by getting him in there for 20% more, plus the tech, once I get to level 3, those two things combined lets me barely reach Brazil, letting me drop 1 province down. Meaning with 2 ideas, you can spawn it, but you need to make sure you have enough time to get them, and then you have to recycle diplomatic advisors till you find one. Once it's there, you can cancel the idea group, you'll be fine, or after it spawns, you'll be fine, because it does require that you still have that idea. You still need to have Quest for the New World. And that's it. That's all you really need to know about Mali. This will get you off the ground, make you become a power block in all of West Africa, because at this point, with Mali, there's nothing that can stop me. I need manpower, but manpower is not a big thing when you have money. When you have tons and tons and tons of money, and if I need more money, I can just dev Diplo into my gold mines. Because I have another 3 before it starts to really be a collapse risk, and I need 4 here, and then I have another 8 here. I can get plenty of money. And none of these guys over in true West Africa are even close to being able to fight me off one-on-one. And Songhai and Mossy, the last 2 that are really capable, are beating each other up. And I could probably take out Mossy and then Songhai very quickly afterwards, because I white-pieced out Songhai. If you have an opportunity to take on Songhai without these guys all getting involved, so you're able to expand and then take them on individually, humiliate war them, or in this case with Mossy, you can humiliate war him and do show strength, which is 300 monarch power. Don't forget to do that if you have the opportunity. You can do that to Jolof and to Zhen if you want to early on, to get your humiliate in, which will get your monarch generation going with the over 50, and then you'll have another 300 to spend, which gets you caught up. However, if Tafilalt becomes free, you don't necessarily need that. It's up to you what path you choose to go. But with that, I'm going to go ahead and end this guide. I hope you guys like this kind of content. If you do like it, like and subscribe. I will be making more of it. In fact, I already have another 2 planned to release this week. If you want to see a specific country or a specific mechanic or anything like that, let me know. Put it in a comment. I would love to do it. I just need to know what you guys want me to do next. If you want to talk to me or if you want to hang out, join the Discord. Link is in the description. Love to see you guys there. And yeah, it's pretty easy to get in contact with me there. I try and pay attention if people ever message me, and I tend to be fairly responsive. Depends on if I'm playing a game or not. But yeah, see you guys there, and I hope you just enjoyed it. Have a great day.